So this is Land Use Subcommittee. Linda Miller.
Aye.
All right. Dan Gainsborough.
Aye.
Scott, are you here yet?
I don't think he's here yet.
All right. Peter Lowett, present. Elizabeth Hughes.
Oh, I'm here.
Great. All right. So, all right. Anybody?
Aaron.
So we're missing Scott and Aaron. We've got 3 plus our staff support, and we're missing 2 committee members. So we were talking as we started the meeting about how we would sort of roll through this. We're going to benefit from Shannon's screen sharing, and then we'll walk through the document. And Linda, if you're looking at your comments, when we get to places where you had comments, we'll ask for you to call those out. And I think that's the best way for us to play in the sandbox.
Shannon, can you make them a little bigger, please? Thank you.
All right, so the first comments that we have are basically at the top of page 2, where we'd agreed yesterday to strike that sentence at the end of the document, and to make sure that we had the appropriate map as an attachment. Then any questions on that? I think you captured that well, Shannon. Okay. And then the critical planning goals, again here, I think that we did it, we prioritized it based on the visioning group that the group did. So we had critical planning goals. We started off with so you added an explanatory paragraph here. All right.
Yeah, I think that originally had been under modeling.
Yep, that's good. I like that there. Other people have comments on that location? Okay, I like the addition under livability and livable built environment, adding recreation and open space. Sustainable climate and the environment.
Right, that really was just raising the profile of that in terms of we're trying to list these by priorities to the community. So after livable community, then housing, then sustainability, climate resilience, and environment. And I think that combined what was under environmental and expanded it somewhat. And I think it also put in, let's see.
Yeah, I like the way you folded in the reuse and recycling and environmental into that. The only thing that I had when I was looking at it was something around assessing the need for on-site open space, river corridor protection, and recreational amenities to support the project consistent with the latest Town of Concord open space and recreation plan. You may have covered that above when you added in the just the including recreation and open space under the livable built environment. So nice.
Yeah, I think that could be a nice addition, or I mean, if you want to refer to that document.
Yeah, and we'll refer to the document when we get down to the documents. So I think that's okay. Dan, did you have any thoughts so far?
No, the only one that I'm sort of getting hung up on that last sentence in that sustainability thing. Work with Weston and Sampson consultants to Concord Public Works and MIPA to assure information material collected is transferable to the MIPA. All right, so you're saying that the work they're doing associated with the wastewater treatment plant would be suitable for MIPA permitting process.
So the way I looked at it, because I know there was some confusion around that, was so in the original, I was going to say evaluate and incorporate MIPA considerations and requirements to facilitate an efficient permitting. I would say work with the consultant and MIPA to assure information and material collected is transferred to the MIPA umbrella permit for the site.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I like transferable. It's a much better word.
yeah. No, agreed. I think what you just restated in the restatement, I think you sort of addressed the potential for eliminate the potential for confusion. You know, because Weston and Sampson.
I'm not sure we need Weston and Sampson in there.
Right. I mean, they're doing a specific piece of work.
Yeah.
But to your point, when it gets engineered or whatever, it may be them, but it may not be them. And
yeah, so we want our consultant that we're hiring to work with MIPA. That was sort of the point I was trying to make.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to read.
So if you just put the consultant at the beginning of the
will work with
sentence.
Sorry, Peter, could I throw something in there?
Yeah, please, Aaron. Oh, good. I'm glad you joined us.
No worries. Maybe we could say something like work or the town's, I don't know what their particular role, engineering consultant.
No, so don't want to bring the town's engineering consultant into this. What we want is the person we hire to work with MIPA.
Okay. Consultant will work with.
So
yeah.
Is that
a consultant? Let's see. We'll work with. We need to leave MIPA in to assure information and material collected is transferable to
a future umbrella permit for the site.
Yeah, to a future MIPA umbrella permit. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Good additions. Does that clarify things for you, Linda? Because I know you had some. Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
okay? So the next three were just how it was ranked from the survey that was discussed on Monday. There were no changes to those. But then Linda had some additions to the community cohesion and interaction section, and with some other additions that she made, proposed removing these last sections. Housing was also already bumped up, so it would be striking modeling, Concord's needs and the zoning and mapping, because that was included into other sections.
Did we include the Concord's needs thing references like public works and public safety?
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, it's up there. Sorry. Got it.
What, what, does anyone know what the original thought was on relative to the modeling? How is that word being used
So
in this
where's the
context?
land use scenarios in this? Is it?
So,
Can
so when you say
scroll back up to that?
So the modeling ended up in the critical planning goals. It
Yeah, if we could just scroll back up so we can all see that. Shannon has said
I
something.
think that's right.
Which section do you need it to?
Keep going up. All right. Where is it?
I saw modeled, the word model down below a couple of paragraphs.
Oh,
Right, that I think the fiscal impacts, create and model.
create and model.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
modeling from my original comments going way back, it was, I'm not sure I even use that word, but the idea is that we need, and maybe we deal with this somewhere else, we need different tools. And frankly, I don't want to limit their toolbox, but we need some tools to make sure that Concord residents and people that are not professional planners and designers and things can readily understand what it is that we're proposing. And so, again, that may not belong in this. Well, I do think it is a high level goal personally. And that has to do, what I mean by that is we need to make sure that people can understand what it is that's being proposed. And I think I sent something to Shannon and maybe to Scott and Peter last night about, one way to do that. And I'm not suggesting this is the only way, and I'd be interested in Erin's thoughts on it, but is to do some fly through animations of one or more of the scenarios, because I think people generally can relate to that a little better.
I think I put that as a deliverable in section 3 for consideration.
Yeah, let's not jump ahead right now.
No, understood.
We'll
And so the only reason I'm bringing it up, Peter, and I don't want to derail us, is that, and this is, if we go back up for a second, sorry, Shannon.
Yeah.
And so this is under the critical, what's the title of this section that we're looking at?
critical planning.
Critical planning goals. Okay, so to me, and I don't have the words right now, but to me, the critical planning goal is that they bring to this and they understand that when they develop these land use scenarios, they're going to need to utilize different tools to make sure that their audience understands, because some people can read a two-dimensional plan, some people need three-dimensional aids, some people need photographs, of sampled what things look like. And we ran into this goes all the way back. We ran into this when we were doing Riverwalk the first time. If people didn't have an understanding of what density, what that meant. And so this is all about density in my mind.
Can we take another look at community cohesion and interaction? Can you just go down a little bit? Did we just get rid of that, or is it still there? All right, so how about there we add on, create multiple means of communicating the vision to the community, something along those lines.
Graphic tools or something. And Peter, I
Yeah.
think.
So can I just jump in with one cautionary
Please.
Yeah,
note? So Linda and I have firsthand experience that at this stage in the game, if you present three-dimensional things, this is what happened with the Thoreau Depot zoning. People grab onto a three-dimensional, and what happened with Thoreau Depot is MAPC did, here's an example, and the people that were so against it, this is what they're going to build. This process that you are going to have a consultant help with is not going to determine what it's going to exactly look like, how it's going to be exactly laid out. So I think Peter's comment about just using different graphic software and options, and two-dimensional, three-dimensional, to convey scale or concepts, or I think convey concepts is a better than actual images of
how the development's going to look, because that's not going to happen.
I understand you, or I'm actually not worried about it, as long as we explain, to make it very clear to people that these are not intended to be representations of what the final project's going to be built out, but instead are to give them an idea. And that's why I think in animation, which tends to be much more conceptual, and obviously they can be rendered so that they look real, but they can also be rendered so that they look more like a SketchUp model. And so I think there's some great examples that I don't have access to it in this moment, but there's this great work that was done for the Cape as sort of a regional planning effort. And I think something along those lines might be useful.
Just want to mention that Scott has joined the meeting.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Linda.
I understand Elizabeth's concerns, because if someone sees a block diagram in 3D versus like just a 2D flat diagram, I just think they might get the impression, oh, well, that's so big. I remember when you were at Devon's, I saw the visioning master planning for Devon's, and it was really just 2D. It was basically blotches of areas of what you were anticipating for certain areas, rather than giving a sense of clusters of building types and stuff. I don't know, Peter, is that what you did? I remember Devon's.
Basically balloon concept plan type of stuff. But people learn differently. So what a balloon, two-dimensional, strikes one person's chord, and animation strikes another. A line drawing strikes a third. So I think what we need is some sort of graphic, different graphic options to help illustrate the concepts. And that's what we're shooting for.
I'm fine with it. I think the important point is that we want to make it clear that the ability to communicate these things to the various audiences is a huge piece of this with the ask. And I think it's I agree that it's way premature to say that it's this way or it's that way, but we all know from our experiences there are different tools and that are suitable for different audiences and even sub audiences. So
yeah, and it's probably best stuck into the community cohesion and interaction.
Well,
paragraph.
It also could just be a portion of task 2 under
communications.
Communication materials. So I don't know.
All right, well, let's just hold it in abeyance here and roll down and take a look at task 2. when we get there. Let's go to phases and concept plan of development and zoning.
Okay, so, are we generally gonna be all set with these changes, though?
Yeah, I think the other changes we're okay with. Are we, gang?
Yeah, I am.
Scott, have you had a chance to look at them? Aaron,
Yes.
Linda?
Yes,
Okay, great. All right, let's just move down the task 1. So task 1, under 1.3, we need to add another bullet, and the latest Concord open space and recreation plan needs to join the list. I think they just I think it's this year.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I will find out which one it is.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Task 2. People okay with what's there?
Linda, what do you think about adding, that they would be attending some of the community outreach subcommittee meetings in number 2, public meetings and workshops?
yeah, that sounds good.
If we take it out altogether, I just want to run that by John. So,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think if we shift it to just 0.2, I think he'll be okay with that. Oh, and then just one other point, for the quarterly reports, it was worded in a way that they would essentially be doing the advisory board quarterly reports. You know, what the advisory board's activities are, what they've been doing, but really that's in the advisory board's charge to do that and give those to the select board. So we changed the wording of this to prepare a quarterly report on the visioning and zoning process that can be shared with the select board and community.
That works.
Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling.
All right, task 3. And that's where you dropped in the Historic District Commission, Transportation Advisory Committee, and Public Works Commission. Okay.
Should we put in Concord Public Works Commission?
Yeah. So under so down here is where we talked about maybe doing the fly through, but I think we want is something a little more broad. So develop graphic representations, or you know, develop graphics to convey the 3 different land use scenario options. Is that sort of what we're trying to get at, Dan?
Yeah, I think suitable for various audiences. I think that, you know,
Okay.
the advisory board, given its makeup, is going to probably be looking in Basel with one sort of level of,
Yep.
and others will be different.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Graphic, I don't know, I guess
Yeah.
graphic visuals redundant, but
Well, it could always be visual graphics.
I love it.
Or graphic tools, graphic.
Yeah.
I would change it. I would go with visuals. Otherwise, people could show you a bar graph.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good point. Develop visual, yeah.
Yeah, visual
Suitable,
tools.
suitable, yeah, you got it. Represented suitable to the various audiences. Somewhere in there,
Suitable for presentation to
various,
different, multiple
yes,
audiences.
that's good.
Peter, say it one more time. There's two people talking.
Suitable for presentation to multiple audiences.
I would just say
You
visual
can
twos. Sorry.
Sorry, no.
I would just
Good.
say develop visual twos showing the land use scenarios.
Yep.
And then you've got various audiences, stakeholder audience in there twice, basically.
Oh, yeah. You maybe put a slash after audience and stakeholders. Yeah, that's great. All right, people comfortable with this through task 3? You okay, Linda?
I'm fine. I do see there's someone with a hand up. I don't know if you want to wait till the end.
No,
Peter?
let's yeah, Pamela, can you wait till the end, and because we want to get through this and then we'll open it up. So
Okay.
just write it.
Want to suggest you say a minimum of 3, because if you have 3 different options, people are going to think that's all there are.
Yeah, earlier in the document, we asked them to come up with, to narrow it down from multiple scenarios down to 3 that will work our way. So we only point here is we'll only want them to do all the fancy visuals for the top 3 that the community is going to vote on.
Then maybe a couple of different designs for each of those, so that the community doesn't think that that example is the only one.
Yeah. Thank you for the input. All right. All right. 4. We have some comments on 4. All right. Okay. Anybody have comments on 4? In addition to what we have listed? All right, we've got 5 next. All right. And on to 6. Stop me if you've got any questions or concerns. All right, into the schedule. We made a number of changes to the schedule here. I think that. Submission requirements. We're deferring to the procurement office for some of the answers to the yellow stuff. Uh, broken into different segments and roles, evaluation criteria. I'm comfortable with the changes in yellow.
Can we change conversant to expert?
Yep.
Guess it would be an expert.
Okay, we can probably take out the last bullet to demonstrate familiarity with specifying project types to be carbon neutral by 2040. Because that may be impossible. Let's just take that. The only thing set, I would just say by a set date and just leave, not of 2040.
I'll offer you another thought, possibility. The Energy Futures Task Force did a pretty robust energy plan for the town. It might be worth including it as an attachment if it isn't already on there.
Yeah, no, it's on there.
Okay, so that kind of speaks to it. I don't see it, but
Yeah, it's not on here.
It's not on there? Not in the list of documents up above?
Well, then there's two different lists then.
Hang
Yeah,
on, let me roll back up here and check on my computer.
I don't know. It feels very specific. I think we could certainly ask in an interview for folks to speak to their experience with this, but
Yeah, that's more of a question for an interview. But I think we should add the Concord Energy Futures document as a bullet under 1.3, assemble and review documents.
that addresses my point.
So it's on this one, you said, Peter?
Yeah, in that group, just add Concord Energy Futures document.
I think it's 2016, but I'm not positive.
should we consolidate those two lists, some assemble between 1.3 and then the very last attachment? Do we need them?
I like that idea. Otherwise, it's just opportunity for confusion.
No, I got a question.
Yeah, Scott?
Sorry.
You're asking them to review these documents as a task, but then you have to attach them to provide them to them. So I like having them both. You're telling them what they need to do with those documents, but then you're saying, and then you have them as an attachment. I guess you would then have to, if you're going to just consolidate, you're going to have to say, see attachments under this 1.3, whatever section it is, and just say these are all attachments. I like having attachments at the end of an RFP and then telling them what to do with those in the task, but you can do whatever you want if you want to consolidate.
Let's repeat everything from 1.3 under attachments.
Yeah, I think that's
Fine.
the right one. Okay, so I can do that offline. Just will take some formatting.
Yeah, just add it on to the things that aren't repeated. Just copy it all down there and then just go through and take out the ones that are repeated.
Yep. Okay, so otherwise that is it.
Excellent.
All right, that's great. So, I think
Right.
Scott still has his hand up.
Sorry, no, it's down now.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you. So other thoughts on this, folks?
What do we do now?
So Shannon, if you can make the changes, send them back out to us, and we should look at them and then reply to Shannon saying whether or not we're okay with the changes. And then Shannon, once we've given you the okay, you can distribute to the rest of the town staff and DCAM.
Yeah, I really need to get this to procurement today.
Yep.
So
Go ahead and send it.
Yeah, let's send it.
I
Send it.
think with it.
yeah, so I'll still, go through all the changes, make the edits, send them to you, but I'm gonna send it right to procurement today also.
Yeah, that's fine, because they're not going to be focused on all of the details the way that we are. They're going to be looking at more the procurement process component, so
Yeah, sounds
it
good.
can move along on a separate track. All right. So I just want to go back to sort of Pamela's point about trying to make sure that we're clear about wanting multiple visualization. So do folks are folks on board with that? Do you think we captured that, Dan, with the
I do. I mean, I think it's going to be, if my experience with planners, that's what they like to do. They like to iterate. And so in order to get to a larger number than 3, they're going to develop multiple scenarios and probably
I just
subsidize.
look at this and I say, all right, we're going to do all this work. We're going to come up with this concept plan that we're going to base the zoning on, and then DCAM's going to let it out to a private sector developer, and they're going to come up with their own plan that complies with what we have laid out as a structure for development that's embedded in zoning. Or it could be that the town decides that they want to, do it themselves, but they'll still have to follow the guidance that our committee has created in the zoning that we lay out. So those are sort of the options, and someone else is going to come up with that final graphic and fly through for the final animation of the zoning. We're going to be version 1, and they'll probably be version 7 when it gets before the planning board for voting. So it's got a long journey. We just want to get it started on the right foot. Any other thoughts, folks?
Do you want to assign or have someone be clerk of the meeting? I'll volunteer.
Okay, well, thank you, Linda. That is very kind of you. All right. Our next meeting would be 2 weeks from now. We have MCI in between. Scott?
Is it 2 weeks, Peter, or would it be 1 week? I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
that's 1 week. Yeah.
I mean, it could be because we did meet today, but I'm just scheduled.
Scott, if if you're able, I'm going to be out in Colorado, and so I'll be visiting grandkids and attending virtually. Do you want to chair next Tuesday?
Sure, no
Yeah.
problem.
Can just
Yeah,
work with Shannon and come up with any agenda items unless.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm going to be in California, so I may or may not be able to join.
Yeah, I may not be able to join. I have a conflict.
Might be
Sounds like we
an
may
easy
not have
meeting,
a meeting
Scott.
next Tuesday.
all right.
May
I'll
not
talk
have
to
a
myself.
quorum.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All
A
right.
good day to make a lot of decisions.
Yeah, yes.
All right. Sounds good. So do we have anything on the agenda, Shannon, that we would need to take action on next Tuesday?
I don't think so. I think we're just full steam ahead on moving forward with the RFP. But you all obviously just discussed what are hopefully the last batch of edits. You do
Yeah,
have,
let's keep the meeting and we can all look at things on email and join by Zoom.
I have another suggestion, Peters. What do you think about this? What if we go back to our, oh, I guess that would be the regularly scheduled. I was going to say we skip it and go to the following because we will need as a group to start to prepare for the site tour.
Yes.
Maybe you covered this, but who sends out the RFP? Is that DCAM and they're gonna do that?
no, that is the town.
Okay,
That is something that our procurement office
the
handles.
procurement team is gonna do that.
Yep.
Got it. So after DCAM reviews it, do we have to go through this again? Or are we like,
Hope not.
okay,
Well, unless they make
major
changes.
comments? Okay,
Right.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Paul today, but I'm hoping
Guys,
that,
I have to run. Sorry, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Have a good day.
Scott.
Bye.
I'm hoping that their changes, if any, are fairly administrative or in line with the edits that you all were making. But if Paul sends me back something that's crazy redlined, I think I'm gonna have to let you all know, and there will have to be a meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah, so we'll just keep the meeting for next Tuesday on Zoom. And Shannon, if you could reach out to Scott once you hear from Paul.
Yeah.
And that way we can still take a look at it long distance and make any changes because we don't want to stop this rolling out.
Yeah.
All right. Any other committee concerns? Otherwise, we'll open it up to public comment. All right. Hearing none. Any public comment?
Hi, Pamela Dritt, 13 Concord Green. I may not have I may have missed this, but you know that we're one of the 10 demonstration project towns for all electric building. And is that in there? I didn't see it. The consultant.
So that's a town requirement. So that is in there.
so it's a building code.
It's building code.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be in a planning document, but we'll certainly make them conversant with it because it's in the Concord Climate Futures as a recommendation. So,
And can we do we have the legal ability to make net zero ready building code, or do we have to go through the whole process again? Or
so that's
also, when applicable, solar ready and battery charging ready.
Solar ready is already part of the building code.
Okay, great.
okay. Other questions, folks?
Oh, one more.
Sure.
Are they going to look at such ideas as co-housing development?
That is certainly, a possibility. Yep. That will be up to, that could be one of the housing options that rolls out.
Will we be requiring mixed use development?
That's one of the things that you as a member of the community can advocate for when the process opens. And my guess is that is something that will probably emerge, but it's only going to do that if people in the community say they want it.
And centralized parking?
That is certainly an option. And again, the more great ideas you throw out and get repeated by your fellow citizens, the more likely it is that they'll rise to the surface as part of the public process and get incorporated into the scenario development. I think Andy had his hand up. You're fine. All right. Any other comments? Again, this is the beginning of a process, and we want to make sure that the community is involved in giving us as much input and feedback as possible as this rolls out, because we want the product that our consultant is working on to come from the community, of, by, and for the community. So
Peter, just an observation, comment.
Yep.
I just wanna acknowledge all the hard work that Shannon has done to keep this thing going. And I personally am very appreciative of that. I know it's not an easy task, given that feedback is coming from every which
Yeah.
direction.
Shannon, thank you very much. You know, you're great at riding herd on cats like us, so thank you.
Thanks.
All right, hearing nobody else has anything else, I just wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving.